At my engagement party, my fiancé dumped me for a black intern and wanted me to be a stepmother to a grandchild. Furious, I quickly married a billionaire CEO, Anderson. He killed my dog and threw away my belongings, but then his mistress cheated him, he contracted HIV, went bankrupt, and killed himself. At the engagement party, just as the engagement ring was about to be slipped onto my finger, his phone rang. His black intern, Lena, was on a video call, calling him darling and announcing she was pregnant with his child. He threw my hand away and turned to leave without looking back. 2 hours later, a bank notification arrived. David Miller transferred $50 million to Lena, memo, baby's expenses. That evening, his social media photo updated. He was kneeling, kissing the woman's belly. Having you and our baby is the greatest happiness of my life. He even called me, I just made a mistake any man in the world could make. Lena came to a foreign country for her career, and now she's pregnant with my child. I can't let her be wronged. Didn't you always want children? When she gives birth, we'll raise the child together, raise the child as our own. Seeing my silence, he added, today's engagement party, I'll rearrange it after Lena gives birth. I was shaking with rage. Me? The daughter of the white corporation? He actually wanted me to be a stepmother to a grandchild? I immediately dialed Anderson's phone. Do you dare come to my house to propose? He paused. Wait for me. 20 minutes later, Anderson appeared at the White Estate. He handed over a stock transfer agreement, valued at $3 billion, transferring it to me free of charge. Mr. White asked him, Anderson, are you sure you want to marry my daughter? He took my hand and pressed a kiss to my back. This is my sincerity, and my token of commitment. The next morning, Mr. Thompson appeared with thousands of tulips. Miss White, Mr. Thompson's aide, Mr. Miller couldn't come. Miss Lena isn't feeling well, experiencing some pregnancy symptoms, and he needed to stay with her. He is absolutely going to marry you. These flowers represent his unwavering devotion to you. Looking at the tulips, my nose started to itch, and my throat felt uncomfortable. I'm allergic to tulip pollen. David Miller knew that. I dialed David Miller's phone. David Miller, let's cancel our engagement. Silence on the other end for a few seconds. Sarah, don't joke like that. I'll rearrange the engagement party, give you a lavish wedding, okay? I'll handle things with Lena. She's pregnant with my child after all, I can't upset her right now. I took a deep breath. David Miller, I'm not joking. Cancel the engagement. We're over. I drove back to the villa, planning to take Numi, my pet dog. Pushing open the door, David Miller and Lena were holding a bowl of milk, bringing it to Numi's mouth. Stop! I shouted, my voice sharp. Lena was startled by me, and the bowl fell from her hands. What are you doing? I glared at Lena. Don't you know dogs can't drink milk? Lena immediately squeezed out a few tears, looking wronged at David Miller. David, she whimpered, I just wanted to feed it something. David Miller saw me. Sarah White, what's gotten into you now? She's going to kill Numi. I pointed at Lena. Kill it? It's just a cup of milk. Are you serious? David Miller sneered. Dogs can't drink milk. I practically screamed. Sarah, Lena said timidly, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Back in Africa, puppies are raised on milk. Sarah, I really didn't mean to. Is it because I'm black that you don't like me? David Miller immediately pulled Lena into his arms, glaring at me. Sarah White, that's enough. She's pregnant and was kindly taking care of your dog. Instead of thanking her, you're here yelling and shouting. What if you scared her? Fine. I took a deep breath. Numi, let's go. I bent down and picked up Numi. As I passed the coat rack, my arm accidentally knocked over the heavy coat rack. Ah! Lena let out a piercing shriek, clutching her ankle. My foot. David, my foot hurts so much. David Miller's face changed dramatically. He rushed over, anxiously checking her injury. He looked up, his eyes fixed on me, glaring as if he wanted to devour me alive. Sarah White, he roared. You did that on purpose, didn't you? You wanted to kill Lena. Kill my child. David Miller suddenly grabbed my shoulders and shoved hard. I stumbled back a few steps, my back hitting the wall hard. Sarah White, you vicious woman, he said through gritted teeth. He turned and kicked Numi. The dog let out a yelp of pain and collapsed onto the floor. I rushed over to shield Numi, tears streaming down my face uncontrollably. David Miller, are you insane? Lena stroked her lower abdomen. Sarah, she might just be confused right now. Don't let it make you sick. Don't scare the baby, she sobbed softly. He looked down at Lena. Don't worry, I'm here. I picked up Numi from the floor, planning to leave. Stop. He walked slowly toward me. Lena hopes the baby can wear a traditional hand-knitted baby blanket. I order you, knit a hand-knitted baby blanket within 3 days. I don't know how to knit, I replied coldly. He gave a mocking laugh. Miss White, it seems you truly can't do anything. Other than throwing your weight around relying on the Shin family's influence, what else can you do? I looked up and met his eyes. You're disgusting. He grabbed my wrist and roughly dragged me into the study, then locked the door with a bang. Numi barked frantically outside, scratching at the door incessantly. I pounded hard on the oak door. David Miller, this is illegal imprisonment. I leaned weakly against the door, the voices of David Miller and Lena drifting in. David, Lena's voice floated in, are you really going to treat Sar all like this? Let her stay in there and think about what she did, David Miller said coldly. I saw her with Anderson, he suddenly lowered his voice. I froze. Anderson? At the business reception last week, they hugged and even kissed on the cheek. Then I remembered that day Anderson saw me, he did indeed greet me with a kiss on the cheek. It was just social etiquette. I just knew she was sleeping with that foreigner Anderson. David Miller's voice was full of mockery. Lena sobbed softly. David, why don't you just break up with Sarah? The family's reputation, David Miller finally said. The alliance between the Miller and Shin families has already caused a huge stir. If I break up now, what about my reputation, David Miller? Besides, the White Corporation, that juicy target, I haven't gotten my hands on yet. So, maintaining this relationship was just for family reputation and business interests? Suddenly, there was an urgent knock on the door. Sarah White, open the door, David Miller's cold voice came. I hastily wiped away my tears, forcing myself to open the door calmly. What are you crying about? Don't try to play the victim for sympathy in front of me. Your little tricks might work on others, but not on me. He roughly grabbed my arm and shoved me into the bedroom. I froze. In the bedroom, everything had changed. My clothes, jewelry, books, everything was gone. Our photos on the wall that used to hang there were also taken down. The teddy bear David gave me on the nightstand was gone. All the items that held 5 years of our memories were gone. You threw away all my things? My voice trembled slightly. David Miller replied coldly, threw them away as trash. Lena is pregnant now, and she can't get upset. Seeing these things would make her unhappy. It's not good for the baby's health. I know you can understand, you've always been so understanding. There was a time when he used to say the same things to me. Sarah, when you work late, I worry, it's not good for your health. Sarah, that skirt is too short, change into something else. I don't want others seeing you looking sexy. It turned out those seemingly caring words were just a pretense. And now, he didn't even need the pretense anymore. Lena pushed the door open and came in, holding a bowl of steaming yogurt. Sarah, she said with concern on her face, don't argue with David anymore. Eat something. You know, David is really good to me. Lena smiled smugly. Last night he even said meeting me was the greatest luck of his life. I didn't reply. He said the 5 years he was with you felt like living dead, Lena continued. You only cared about work, never knew how to take care of anyone, you couldn't even knit a hand-knitted baby blanket. Shut up, I finally said. Just then, Numi somehow slipped in and started barking at Lena. Ah! Lena shrieked. Help! This animal is going to bite me. She clutched her belly with one hand, looking terrified. Numi, come here. Numi immediately came to my side obediently. What's wrong? David Miller hurried in. Seeing Lena huddled in the corner, looking shaken, he immediately went forward and pulled her into his arms. Baby, are you okay? Were you scared? Lena sobbed in his arms. That dog almost bit me and the baby. I'm so scared. Numi wouldn't bite anyone, I explained. It just barked a few times. David Miller whirled around, his eyes filled with fury. Shut up! You put it up to this, didn't you? You want to harm Lena and my child? I didn't. Numi just, enough. David Miller cut me off, his gaze falling on Numi. This animal can't stay, he suddenly said. Before I could react, he had grabbed a knife from the table and was walking towards Numi. What are you doing? Stop! I screamed in terror, trying to shield Numi. But Lena blocked me. Sarah, stop making a scene. That dog is too dangerous. Numi seemed to sense the danger and growled at David Miller. See how vicious it is, David Miller said. He suddenly moved, too fast for me to stop him. The blade flashed, and Numi's barking cut off instantly. No! I shrieked in despair, rushing over to cradle Numi's limp body. Warm blood soaked my clothes. Numi's eyes were still open, slowly losing their light. Numi! Numi! I held him, tears pouring down. This animal has been destroying our relationship, David Miller said coldly, tossing the bloodstained knife aside. Now we can be together, right? I looked up, staring blankly at this stranger. 2 years ago, on a rainy night, he and I brought the little puppy home together. He built Numi a warm bed with his own hands, and we fed him milk together. He stayed up all night with me at the vet when Numi was sick. He even used to smile and say, "This is our child." Where had that gentleman gone? You're a monster, my voice trembled. You killed our child, David Miller sneered. Stop acting, Sarah White. It was just a dog, do you have to be so dramatic? Lena leaned against his shoulder, looking at me smugly. Sarah, don't be sad. We'll get a better dog later. Holding Numi's body, I stepped back, my gaze burning into them. I will never forgive you. Under the cover of night, I dug a small hole in the corner of the garden and gently laid Numi inside. I'm sorry, Numi, I didn't protect you well, I whispered. Just as I got back to the White estate, my phone chimed with a notification. It was a video call, from Lena. Sarah, Lena's voice was cheerful in the video call. Thank you so much for being so generous and giving David to me. Today I had David make me dog meat soup. It's especially good for pregnant women. The camera wobbled, panning towards a pot of soup on the table. Too bad your dog was so skinny, not much meat, and the taste was just average, Lena's voice continued. My phone crashed onto the floor, the screen shattering. I knelt on the floor, screaming silently. The man who had once gently said this is our child had now made soup out of him. Just as I was drowning in grief, Mrs. Miller called. Sarah dear, Mrs. Miller's voice was filled with joy, Lena is pregnant. Even though she's black, our Miller family won't look down on her. I gripped my phone, feeling dizzy. It's truly fortunate you didn't get engaged back then, Mrs. Miller continued. You and David were trying to have a baby for so long and couldn't. It seems the problem was with you. Mrs. Miller, my voice was calm, David Miller and I have broken up. Silence on the other end for a few seconds. Broken up? How is that possible? David didn't tell me. Mrs. Miller's tone suddenly became panicked. I gave a cold laugh. Your wonderful son killed my dog, took the villa, and got a mistress. Congratulations, you're about to have a grandchild. Without waiting for her reply, I hung up the phone. A week later, I decided to go to the mall to choose a suit for Anderson as a gift for my fiancé. I was carefully selecting a deep blue suit when I suddenly heard a familiar voice. How about this one, baby? I looked up and saw David Miller and Lena standing not far away. Lena was holding his arm, and he was showing a suit in front of her. I immediately turned to leave, but it was already too late. Sarah? David Miller called out in surprise, his expression immediately softening. What are you doing here? I ignored him and continued looking at the suit in my hands. David Miller walked up to me. I knew you still loved me, Sarah. You're buying me a suit as an apology gift, aren't you? I looked at him coldly. David Miller, not everyone revolves around you. This suit isn't for you. Who is it for, then? He frowned. None of your business. I didn't want to deal with him. Lena walked over, deliberately sticking out her stomach. Sarah, what a coincidence. Are you also here to buy clothes for David? After all, he's going to be a father soon. I gave a mocking laugh. How pathetic. You got yourself a lapdog, and you even have to pay for its clothes yourself. David Miller's expression instantly turned savage. He snatched the suit from my hands. What did you say? I said you're a dog, I said, looking him straight in the eyes. An ungrateful dog. He ripped the suit in half and threw it on the floor, then stepped forward and shoved me. Sarah White, don't be so arrogant. Caught off guard, my foot slipped, and I tumbled towards the staircase. The surrounding customers gasped. This was the 5th floor. I closed my eyes. Was I going to die? Just as I was about to fall, a pair of strong arms caught me firmly. I'm sorry I'm late. That shove from David Miller made me lose my balance, and I was about to fall from the 5th floor. In the nick of time, a pair of strong arms caught me. It was Anderson. I'm sorry I'm late. Anderson held me tightly. Anderson, I whispered. David Miller and Lena stood rooted to the spot. Anderson? What are you doing here? David Miller finally spoke. Anderson released me and turned to David Miller. Mr. Miller, using violence against a lady, especially my fiancée, is quite ungentlemanly. Fiancé? David Miller and Lena said in unison. David Miller's face went from pale to red, then purple. What did you say? Since when is Sarah White your fiancé? I looked David Miller straight in the eye. David Miller, we are over. The engagement is cancelled, the relationship is severed. Now Anderson is my only fiancé. Sarah White, you fickle woman. You broke up just days ago and already found a foreigner? Have you no reputation? David Miller roared. Anderson stepped in front of me. Mr. Miller, please watch your mouth. This is a legitimate relationship. As for who is truly fickle and who is destroying a relationship, I believe everyone here can see clearly. Lena immediately clutched her stomach, pretending to be in pain. And, David, my stomach hurts so much, the baby might, look what you did. You scared Lena. If anything happens to my child, I'm not done with you. David Miller yelled, pointing at me. Anderson turned to his assistant. Initiate acquisition procedures immediately. I want full ownership of this mall. To deal with certain, insignificant obstacles. David Miller said in alarm, what are you going to do? I'm going to buy this place. That way, every bit of unfairness my fiancé suffered here will be repaid tenfold. Anderson then looked at me. Sarah, are you okay? Are you hurt anywhere? I'm fine, I replied, shaking my head. Let's go, Anderson said, putting his arm around me as we left. On the way home, Anderson held my hand. I'm sorry, I should have arrived sooner. I shook my head. You arrived just in time. I've already started on the Miller Group. I won't let anyone who hurt you get away with it, Anderson said calmly. That night, David Miller smashed everything in the villa, roaring with rage. Lena pretended to calm him down, but inside, she began to worry about the future. The Anderson Corporation systematically crushed the Miller Group. The Miller family's defeat was sealed. David Miller sought help everywhere but was met with cold shoulders. Excuses like sensitive situation and financial difficulties kept popping up. Mr. Miller heard about the company crisis and fainted on the spot, rushed to the hospital. This was just the beginning of the Miller family's nightmare. On a rainy night, I had just returned home from dinner with Anderson. When I opened the door, I saw David Miller kneeling outside, soaked to the bone. I watched him quietly, as if looking at a stranger. Sarah White, is that you? He looked up, his gaze unfocused. Haven't seen you in a few days, Mr. Miller, your acting has improved. I stood under my umbrella, with no intention of inviting him in. He shuffled forward on his knees, his suit pants soaked with mud. Sarah, save the Miller family, save me. He reached for my hem. I stepped back. David Miller, what melodrama are you performing? It's not acting. I'm really wrong, he said emotionally. I shouldn't have hurt you. I shouldn't have trusted Lena. Can we start over? I knelt down to face him. David Miller, am I a recycling bin? You throw me away whenever you like, and pick me up whenever you want. The new me you killed isn't coming back. The memories you threw away can't be found. You overestimate yourself. All you lost was a fool, and all I lost was garbage. No, that's not it. I never looked down on you. I stood up. You're kneeling here now not because you love me, but because Anderson took everything from you. What happens to the Miller family is none of my concern. You made your own mess, you clean it up. He grabbed the hem of my pants. Sarah, I was wrong. I really love you. Love? I shook off his hand. You love the Shin family's influence and convenience. I turned to close the door, but he shouted, wait. I'll tell you a secret about Lena. I stopped. The child in Lena's belly might not be mine. You're just realizing that now? It seems Mr. Miller's intelligence is as touching as his character. He had no reply. I closed the door, leaving him in the rain. David Miller returned to the villa, close to collapsing. He hid in the study, repeatedly listening to the recorded calls. Lena knocked on the door. David, eat something? Get out, he roared. Lena left, looking wronged, and called from her room. The plan might have gone wrong, he's starting to suspect. No. I've come this far, I can't fail now. Don't worry, I have a way. David Miller dug out Lena's medical report and found details he had overlooked. David Miller was listless, barely able to walk steadily. He hired the best private investigator to look into Lena. 3 days later, the investigator handed him a thick folder. His hand trembling. Mr. Miller, you'd better sit down for this. David Miller tore open the envelope. His face went from white to green, then ashen. Lena's innocent black intern identity was a complete lie. She had been scamming wealthy Asian businessmen in 3 different countries using various identities. The most terrifying part was that Lena was a carrier of the HIV virus, meaning she had HIV. She had been infected before she even came to China. The child in her belly? David Miller asked with difficulty. The DNA pointed to another African businessman. She was pregnant before she came to China. David Miller slumped into the chair, his hands shaking violently. Are you sure? We triple-checked. There's no mistake. David Miller thought of Lena's cunning eyes, her feigned fear of Numi, and her despicable smugness in front of me. He grabbed his car keys and rushed to the hospital for an HIV test. The test result, positive. He contracted HIV. At the same time, Anderson's acquisition was nearing its end. 87% of the Miller Group's shares have been acquired. You have lost control, the CFO said expressionlessly. The Miller family's century-old foundation was destroyed overnight. Mr. Miller suffered cardiac arrest and was sent to the ICU. David Miller returned to the villa and saw Lena eating fruit. Lena, he roared, rushing forward. David, what's wrong? She asked, feigning innocence. Stop pretending. The child isn't mine, is it? You liar. Lena's face turned pale, then she composed herself. Of course the baby is yours. The detective report is all out. Who sent you? Lena's mask shattered. Yes, the child isn't yours. So what? I was only with you because you were rich. Why didn't you tell me you had HIV? David Miller's voice trembled. So what if I have HIV? It's worth it if I can take you down with me, she sneered. Didn't you like Sarah White? Well, let me tell you, now you're sick too. David Miller collapsed onto the floor. The CEO who once commanded the wind and rain now had nothing. But I, the one he hurt, found a new life in Anderson's arms. This is karma. Diagnosed with HIV, David Miller completely broke down. He dragged his heavy steps back to the villa. Lena leaned against the doorframe, her smile twisted. My dearest David, how were the test results? David Miller couldn't speak. No need to say anything, that deathly pale face of yours already tells me the answer. Why? Lena idly fiddled with an orchid. Why? Money, of course. You rich second-generation heirs are so easy to fool. The child, Lena lifted her shirt, revealing a fake belly. You actually believed that? This thing cost only $5,000. David Miller sank to the floor. The happiest thing for me was watching you kill that dog and seeing Sarah White cry like that. Get out. Get out of here. When you've transferred all the assets to me, I'll leave. Just then, David Miller's phone rang. The hospital notified him that his father had passed away. His mother was also in a coma and had been admitted to the ICU. The Miller family completely collapsed within a few weeks. Lena hid in another part of the villa every day, cursing him and demanding he transfer assets. Late at night, he dug out a photo of us and dialed my phone. Sarah, please, see me. I was with Anderson, choosing curtains for our new home. What do you want? Sarah, it was my fault. Lena lied to me. The child isn't mine. She's sick. I am too. Anderson squeezed my hand. David Miller, what are you trying to prove by saying all this? I'm a bastard. I hurt you, now I'm getting my comeuppance, I know. Can we start over? I promise I'll treat you well. I remembered Numi's eyes just before he died. We can't go back. The damage you've done is irreversible. Sobbing came from the other end of the line. You have nothing left but a sick body and a rotten heart. I looked at Anderson's gentle smile. I'm with Anderson now. He gave me respect and love. Your world fell apart, but my life is just beginning. I hung up the phone. Anderson held me. It's okay. It's all over. David Miller slumped in the empty villa, knowing he had completely lost. He had no reason left to live. I had completely let go of the past. David Miller and Lena got the punishment they deserved. Did you hear? My friend asked. David Miller released some dirt on that black girlfriend of his. What dirt? I asked. Lena is a fraud. She conned David Miller, the child isn't his, and she gave him HIV. The social circles were buzzing. Those who used to envy Lena were now laughing at her. Anderson looked at the news, his face stern. This woman must face the consequences she deserves. He picked up his phone and dialed a few numbers. Anderson, you don't have to do this, I said. I have to. I can't let her continue doing harm in China. Lena soon faced legal consequences and was eventually deported back to her country. Weeks later, I received a photo. Lena was working in a field, wearing simple clothes, her eyes empty. This is retribution, Anderson said. I closed my laptop and turned to look out the window. What are you thinking about? Anderson put his arm around my shoulder. Just thinking how ironic it all is. Anderson led me downstairs. A sapphire blue Porsche was parked there. A gift for you. Do you like it? He took out a small box and knelt on one knee. Sarah White, will you marry me? I nodded yes, and we kissed amidst the applause of the crowd. I established an animal protection foundation, picked up my paintbrush again, and held a solo art exhibition. One day, the butler delivered a letter from David Miller. In the letter, he admitted his mistakes, apologized to me and Numi, and wished me happiness. A few days later, the news reported David Miller's suicide. Are you okay? Anderson asked. Yes, everything is F. Finally over. We held our wedding at a seaside castle. Sarah White, from today, you are my wife. I will protect you for the rest of my life, Anderson said. We stood on the balcony, looking out at the sea. The matter with David Miller is completely finished. Yes, it's all over. We embraced, the sunlight warm and bright upon us. We honeymooned on the Amalfi coast in Italy. The sun was dazzling, and the sea breeze was gentle. Anderson held my hand as we walked along the seaside path. Do you like it here, Sarah? He asked. I looked out at the azure sea and said softly, "It's beautiful. Like a dream." He stopped and turned to me, his eyes gentle. "This isn't a dream. This is our life, starting now." We dined at a seaside restaurant. Fresh seafood, white wine. Anderson served me, his movements careful and elegant. "Is the matter with David Miller still weighing on your mind?" he suddenly asked. I shook my head. "It's in the past." Like footprints on the sand, the tide came and washed them away. "That's good," he said, holding my hand. "I want your life to be filled only with sunshine and warmth, with no more shadows." "Having you is sunshine enough," I said, smiling at him. He leaned down and pressed a light kiss to my forehead. Back at the hotel, we watched the night view from the balcony. Lights twinkled in the distance, and the sound of waves filled the air. I nestled in his arms, feeling a sense of peace and security I had never known before. "The Animal Protection Foundation I established is doing well," I said. "We've rescued many stray animals." "That's wonderful," he said, kissing the top of my head. "You can do anything you want, I'll support you." "I also want to paint." "Then paint. Paint everything you want to express." After the honeymoon, we returned to our new home. A spacious and bright villa, with a large garden, where I could have many animals. My studio was redecorated, sunlight streaming in through the floor to ceiling. Windows. I sat down in front of the canvas, feeling my brushstrokes become light and free. Anderson was busy with work, but he always made time for me whenever he could. We'd take walks together, have dinner together, read the same book before bed. "Have you thought about having a child?" he suddenly asked one evening. My heart skipped a beat. David Miller's fake child had once felt like a thorn in my throat. But looking into Anderson's sincere, hopeful eyes, the shadow in my heart gradually faded. "Yes," I said. His smile lit up the room. "Good. We'll have a family, our own child." A year later, our daughter was born. She had deep eyes like Anderson's and my soft black hair. We named her Anna. Holding her in my arms, life felt so wondrous. My heart, once shattered, was now completely filled with softness and love. Anderson became a tender father. He was willing to turn down less important engagements to come home and read Anna stories, clumsily change her diapers. "You're such a good dad," I said, smiling at him. "I just want to give her, and both of you, the best things in the world," he said softly, holding the sleeping Anna. As Anna grew older, we began traveling with her. We went to Switzerland to see the snowy mountains, to Japan to see the cherry blossoms, to Australia to see the kangaroos. Anna's laughter was the most beautiful scenery of our journeys. I looked for new painting inspiration during our travels, while Anderson handled his business affairs in different cities. Sometimes, I would attend some of his business dinners. People respectfully called me Mrs. Anderson, which took some getting used to, but also gave me a sense of quiet strength.